Hello and welcome to my channel. It is March 24th, 2021, which is a Wednesday. As you can see by the title, I'm just going to go over a few of my issues with the right. That's right. And I mean the right, I do mean Republicans. That's right. I think they're spineless cowards as a party as a whole. I think the GOP is kind of a shell of its former self. Um, Back when Harry Reid was in charge, they changed certain rules to allow to get President Obama's nominees into their position. And when the Republicans had control of the Senate, did they change the rules back? No, they didn't. No, they actually used the same rules that Harry Reid created to get Trump's candidates or nominees into positions of power. So yeah, Republicans may not make changes, but they definitely use the tactics that the Democrats create and probably semi abuse them, and that's kind of the issue. You have the Democrats want to get rid of the filibuster, but when the Republicans are in charge, they don't really want to change the rules and make it easier for them. They just play by the rules instead of creating new rules. And I think that's kind of spineless and kind of cowardly of them, or even change the rules back to where they were to make it harder for the Democrats. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they either change them back to where we have normalcy, or they just created rules to benefit them, and they're just not doing that. They're just using the rules, and then every time the Democrats get in control of the Senate or the House, they create new rules to make it easier for them, while the Republicans just pretty much sit with a thumb up their bum and said, "All right, I guess we're playing by these rules," instead of changing back the rules and making it harder for the Democrats to change the rules in the first place. So that is just one of my issues right there. Is when they actually have the power, they rarely use it to benefit them. The other issue, I think this is more of a bipartisan issue, but mainly the Republicans. You have cities and states that have voted Democrat for almost 100 years. My question is, where's the Republican Party? Where's the GOP to at least show up to the fight? They pretty much don't. So pretty much the party, if there is a candidate running in that election, won't really donate a whole lot of money to their fight, and the candidate is pretty much stuck with most of the finances and trying to get their message across. They don't really back those candidates because they view it as a waste of money, and that's like a big issue. The only way that we're going to really take back this country under the current two-party system is that both parties pretty much have to go and kind of invade the strongholds of the other ones. I mean, the Democrats have no quarrels or any concerns about the optics of that because they're trying to turn Texas extremely purple to the point where it turns blue again, and we actually elect a Democratic governor and win back the state um, elections from there. But the Republicans don't really do that. And it's very frustrating because I don't know why. I don't know why they don't do that. I guess it's the conservative side in them. They don't really want to waste the money, but it's not really wasting money or resources. You are creating a different viewpoint. You're creating diversity of thought by going into these fields, by going into New York or going into wherever, and actually challenging the Democrats on their home front to say, you don't have to vote a certain way. Here are our values. Here is our plan to make America better. Instead, you get a stranglehold of Democrats and weak Republicans that are not even trying, which kind of goes into my next criticism of the Republican parties. you have up and newcomer, you got fresh blood, and they really want to make a difference. But I guess it's their ideology where it's all about individualism and not the collectivism, where they don't really back the new blood or the new talent. They're stuck in their old ways, and where they think that, oh well, this candidate's really good, but unfortunately this person over here who's already been elected several times has seniority or tenure, so we're going to back them. They don't really go after the new talent despite what they claim, and it's usually up to each individual candidate's responsibility to manage their campaign. And for those candidates that are doing that and they actually get votes, I commend them. But you really have to have a machine behind you. You really have to have that network that will support you from finding new talent, supporting them as they're running, and actually backing them up with resources on a national scale so they can get that following like AOC has. That's really important. And I don't really see the Republicans doing that. It's usually all these individuals fighting the fight themselves to overcome obstacles when if they just had a little bit of support, not necessarily financial support, just resources to allow them to use a bigger network, have more influence, and actually maybe use like a Donald Trump or Eric Trump to be even visiting these candidates to get them on the news so people could actually know that there's a contender within in that blue city. Um, I guess their argument is we'll save the suburbs, but if you don't save the city's actually feeding the suburbs because the Democrats' policy makes cities unaffordable for whatever reason. They're just unaffordable to live. They raise taxes. The jobs are not there, and the jobs that are there don't pay as much. So it's forcing all those Democrats out into the suburbs, which is turning the suburbs blue. And then the same policies that were within the city grow into the suburbs, pushing the Democrat wave farther and farther and farther out like a spider web. And I guess the Republicans thought if we save these small regions around the city, we could create a front to combat. But what you're doing is really creating a stalemate, and nothing really improves. Um, the other thing that's frustrating is I know that they put pork, I know that they do that, but they don't really stand up for American values. They say, all right, we want to do X. Like, all right, if we want to do X, then this has to be in. And eventually down the road, they cave and hoping that the next bill that they get some victories. And even when they're not in power, I mean, the Democrats got a lot of stuff through under Donald Trump's presidency. Not as much as they would like, but yes, those are kind of like my issues. It's more of a rambling rant. Leave your thoughts down below on what your thoughts are, or comment down below with anything. Smash the like and subscribe buttons on all platforms, and have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.